everybody. Our theme this week has been Get Your Life Back, based on a book that we have shared with you. You see, we all live in this crazy time. This time when everything seems kind of instant or on demand or ATM microwave society. And all of this stuff, it leaves us feeling both burnt out and left behind. I mean, you can't kind of keep up with the rate of change so much these days. If you missed the previous ones in these series of Get Your Life Back, you can go find them on our website or on our YouTube page. But today we're going to talk about what kind of life God wants for you. What kind of life do you think that God wants for you? I was talking to the parent of some elementary school kids just the other day, and we were talking, and she was telling me about how it's been hard for her and her kids to be able to engage in church online. She says they don't really sit still, and, we get the Calvary Kids Crates, but sometimes we're just not very good at sitting down and doing them together. And I just listened to this mom as she was talking about this. She said to me, I just want my kids to be good Christians. And it was at this point my pastor brain started going, and I started wondering, well, is that really the point? Is the point of all of that just for us to be good Christians? And I mean, what does good Christians even really mean? I think we have this idea about Christianity and the church that it's all about making good people or good Christians, that's the job of the church. And that's the job of us as Christian parents, to make these little good Christians, these little good kids. And I've certainly felt like this before in my life. I remember when my son was about 5 years old, he shoplifted something right out of the store. He just took a candy from the end, and I didn't notice until we got to the car. And I turned to him and I looked at this candy and I said, buddy, God does not want us to steal. It's one of the commandments. God does not want us to steal. And so we took that candy bar back into the store. And I remember thinking, this is the job of Sunday school, to teach my kids how to make sure that they are good people. This was my job, to make sure that they were good people. And here's the thing, a lot of the time, this is kind of how it works in our faith journey. So if we started from scratch, totally empty faith journey, first, think about it. First thing we do is we watch. We either go to church and we watch people worshiping, or maybe we watch the Daily Dose, or maybe it happened when you were a kid and you watched and your parents brought you to church, or maybe somebody brought you to watch one of these films one day, or maybe you came to it on your own, and we are watching. So we start, and as we're watching and we're observing, we're seeing that there's something excited about these people who are given these messages, or these people that are worshiping, and our faith, it just starts to sort of get stirred up inside of us. We start to get curious, and we kind of want more of this thing that we've been watching. And then after we watch, we move on to this next stage, which is participation. And we think, yeah, you know what? I want to get involved in this thing that's stirring up something in me, this participation. So I'm gonna join that volunteer project, or I'm gonna serve on that ministry team, or I'll pack meals from the heart here at Calvary on April 18th. That was my shameless plug for all of you. But we think, yes, we want to participate. We want to get involved. Or we think, yes, maybe I'll do a Bible study, or I'll study the Bible on my app, or I'll do something good for the world. Because let's just be honest, a lot of times then, after we have watched and then we've participated, it seems like our faith just kind of gets stuck there. Our faith just gets stuck between watching and participating. But friends, here's the thing. God wants something so much more than your watching and your participating. God wants something so much more than your good behavior. God even wants so much more than you being a good Christian. I might even go so far as to say that God doesn't even really need your watching and your good behavior. Ooh, I know that might be controversial. Because instead, I think what God wants from you is totally different. What God wants from you is a relationship. God wants a relationship with you. You see, not like ones that we have with other people, where there's always this hierarchy of one person trying to impress the other person, but a real life-giving relationship with all of its messiness, with all of its complication, with all of its vulnerability. This is the kind of relationship that God wants with you, my friends. And I think this is explained so well in the Bible, in the book of John. Jesus goes and he's telling a story about what this relationship looks like. And Jesus says, I am the vine and you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, then you will bear much fruit. But apart from me, you can't do anything. You see, God wants to be in a relationship with you, to feed you, just like a vine feeds into its branches, how they're interwoven and so much a part of each other, to fill you up with goodness, to help you to grow in your faith life and in your own life. But I think so often in the world, I don't know about you, but I know that this is true for me, so often we just try and go it alone. We try and fill ourselves up on our own. We try to look to people who we think will maybe fill us, or relationships that we think will maybe help us to grow, or we look to our own achievements and we try to be good and we try and fill ourselves up. Or maybe sometimes we look to things that are outside of us, like things like political leaders to fill our buckets, or jobs to fill our buckets, or we strive for perfection because then we think that our bucket will be filled. Or sometimes when we realize we just can't fill it, then we turn to things that are not good for us, things like alcohol and pornography, and we try and fill our buckets or numb ourselves from the emptiness that we feel. But Jesus continues in this story. He says, if you do not remain in me, then you're like a branch that has been thrown away and it withers. And such branches are then picked up and thrown into the fire and burned. Because you see, all of these things, all of these striving, all of these things, they eventually will fail us. Even your own being good will eventually leave you empty. Because this isn't the point. You, my friends, you have been created for a relationship with a God that wants to be with you, that wants to be dependent just like the vine and the branches are, that wants to just totally, completely consume and exist all of you. And when you let go of other things like the striving and the trying to be good enough or trying to raise good enough children, good Christian children, then you realize that there is actually space for that. There is space for you to quit trying so hard. And there's space for you to be in a relationship with God. And there's space for you to be filled by the one who can actually do the filling of your bucket. Because you can't pour from an empty vessel. Jesus is the vine and you are the branches. But my favorite part actually comes a little later in this verse where Jesus says, you did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit, fruit that will last. Friends, God chooses you. God chooses you to bear God's fruit. God chooses you to be in relationship with. God chooses you not because of what you do, but because of who you are and who God is. Oh, isn't that such good news? Thank you so much for joining us this week on The Daily Dose. I'm honored that you have spent time with us. If you know someone who could use this message today, somebody who's maybe feeling a bit empty, they're feeling like an empty vessel with nothing left to pour out, would you do me a favor? Would you share this with them? And if you're empty, will you let this message fill you up? Because God is the vine and you are the branch that he wants to fill. If you're watching us on Facebook and YouTube, I want to invite you to share and subscribe. And if you're on cable access, we'll see you next week.
Oxygen, my very breath, the source of life, the source of rest. Oh, I need you. You're the wind that fills these fragile sails. You carry me crashing waves. Oh, I need you. Oh, breathe in, you in, Yahweh, Yahweh. Breathe in, you in, Yahweh, Yahweh. Breathe in, you in, Yahweh, Yahweh. Breathe in, you in. Stars would have no shine. Stars would have no shine without your word. So be the spark, Lord, let me burn. Oh, I need you. Oh, I need you. Burning within, Yahweh, Yahweh. Burning within, Yahweh, Yahweh. Burning within, Yahweh, Yahweh. Burning within. You are the great I am, seated upon the throne. Nothing can take your place in my heart. I'm bringing all I am, standing with lifted hands. Nothing can take your place in my heart, in my heart. Singing your name, Yahweh, Yahweh. Singing your name, Yahweh, Yahweh. Singing your name, Yahweh, Yahweh. Singing your